The Boston Celtics are stepping into the new season with a completely different vibe. And if you're a true fan, you can already feel it in the air. Training camp is in full swing, and Joe Mazzulla isn't wasting any time shaking things up. This isn't just about tweaking the playbook or trying out a couple of new rotations. No, we're talking about a philosophical shift, a brand new identity for this Celtics squad, one that's going to be built on speed, energy, and relentless pressure from tip-off to final buzzer. But before we go any further, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Jason Tatum. Yes, the heart and soul of this franchise won't be hitting the floor in the early going, and man, you can just tell it's eating him alive. There's this one snapshot from the Auerbach Center where Jaylen Brown is getting up a jumper, and in the corner of the frame, there's Tatum lurking in the weight room, staring at the court like a lion stuck behind glass. You can feel that hunger. He wants to be out there. He needs to be out there. And if you're like the rest of Celtics Nation, you're counting down the minutes until number 0 is back on that hardwood. But while Tatum recovers, this team isn't standing still. In fact, they're doing the exact opposite, literally. Joe Mazzulla is building a team that doesn't just want to run. They want to sprint. They want to gas teams out. They want to be the fastest team in the entire NBA. And that's not just locker room hype. That's the new blueprint. It's a full-on transformation from a squad that ranked near the bottom in pace last year, 29th to be exact, to one that's going to lead the league in possessions per game. That's a dramatic shift, and it's not happening by accident. It's happening because the roster is different. We're seeing a younger, more athletic group out there. Gone are the days of relying on 39-year-old Al Horford to hustle up and down the floor for 30 minutes a night. Gone are the expectations on guys like Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis to keep up with lightning-fast offenses. Now, it's about injecting fresh legs into the mix, guys who can fly, guys who can defend in transition, and guys who can keep that motor running for 4 full quarters. Players like Anthony Simons are key to this evolution. He's one of the fresh faces, and while most fans know what he brings on offense, the Celtics are demanding more, especially on the defensive end. But we'll get to that part later. Let's stick to this idea of pace because it's not just some buzzword Mazzulla's throwing around. This is about changing the rhythm of how the Celtics play basketball from the ground up. Last year, even though Boston jacked up a ton of three-pointers, they weren't exactly playing fast. They were efficient, sure. They took smart shots, and they had guys who could make great reads in the half court. But they weren't pushing tempo. That's what's different now. The Celtics don't just want early offense, they want instant offense. Ball comes off the rim, push. Ball goes through the net, push. Doesn't matter who grabs the rebound or takes the inbound. Everybody's running. That's the new mentality. That's what they're drilling into these players from day one of camp. And what's crazy is the guys are buying in. You can see it in their energy. You can hear it in what they're saying. Take Peyton Pritchard, for example. He didn't mince words. He said flat out, this team isn't the same. The personnel has changed, so the game plan has to change too. And in his mind, that means playing faster. A lot faster. Not just because it looks good, but because it gives the new core a chance to shine. Pritchard knows this team isn't going to win by out-executing everyone in the half court like last year's group. They got to bring chaos. They got to bring speed. And they've got to wear teams down until they don't want to play anymore. It sounds intense, but it's smart. It's the classic underdog mentality. If you don't have the same high-level skill and veteran savvy of last year's roster, then you outwork people. You outlast them. You out-hustle them. This is high school gym-level basketball mentality. Run harder, dive for every loose ball, make the other team beg for a timeout 5 minutes into the first quarter because they can't breathe. That's the vision, and it's being drilled into every practice. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't just about jacking up shots early in the shot clock for the sake of looking fast. Execution still matters. Efficiency still matters. And the coaching staff is well aware of that. But what they're trying to do is find a balance. Keep that tempo high, keep the defense on its heels, but make sure every possession still has purpose. And that's where some of these new training camp strategies come into play. Word is the Celtics are considering a kind of hockey line rotation system. Think 5 in, 5 out. Hard 5-minute stretches of high-energy basketball, then wholesale substitutions. It's not something we've really seen from Boston in recent years, but it makes sense given the makeup of the roster. There are a lot of question marks, a lot of guys we haven't seen get major NBA minutes. This system gives Mazzulla a chance to test combinations, see who can handle the pace, and build that 10-man rotation with real-time data. Jordan Walsh even mentioned it. He said coach wants all-out effort for 4 or 5 minutes. Then boom, new 5. Fresh legs. More energy. More chaos. Early in the season, it's a brilliant approach. Use that depth. Throw different looks at teams. Figure out who brings that spark off the bench. And yeah, maybe down the road, things tighten up. But for now, the Celtics are using every tool in the shed to build a machine that runs harder than anybody else. And it's not just offense. Joe Mazzulla is taking that same high-octane mindset and flipping it to the defensive side of the ball. When he says he wants to push the pace on defense, he's not just talking about fast breaks-off steals. He's talking about forcing teams to play faster than they want to, making opponents uncomfortable, throwing bodies into passing lanes, increasing decision-making pressure. It's mental and physical, speed not just with your feet, but with your mind. It's about ramping up the number of decisions your opponent has to make every single possession, every single game, and then using your effort, your length, your intensity to turn that pressure into mistakes. According to assistant coach Sam Castle, this has been one of the toughest starts to a training camp he's ever seen, and that's coming from a guy who's been in the NBA for over 3 decades. That tells you everything. This isn't lip service. This is real work. This is laying the foundation for a team that's going to hang its hat on energy and effort. Because, let's be honest, this version of the Celtics might not be the most skilled group in the league. They might not even be the most skilled team in their own conference. But they can be the hardest working. They can be the team no one wants to play because they just won't stop moving. And you know what? Simons seems to be embracing it. He's been putting in the work. He's been focusing on reading passing lanes, stabbing at the ball, understanding positioning. Things he says no one ever really emphasized with him before. That's wild, honestly. To hear that a player with that much time in the league has never been coached up on the fundamentals of defense, it's baffling. But it also shows how different organizations prioritize different things. In Boston, that's changing. They're not going to let a guy coast on one end of the floor. Not anymore. And in a contract year, this could mean everything for Simons. The league is flooded with small guards who can score. What teams are looking for now are two-way players, guys who can stay on the court no matter the situation. If Simons wants to secure the bag, if he wants to prove he's more than just a bucket getter, then this is his chance. Mazzulla is giving him the tools, the system, the minutes. Now it's on him to rise to the challenge. And make no mistake, that defensive buy-in is going to be crucial if the Celtics are serious about contending. Because speed without discipline is just chaos. You need structure. You need trust. You need every player to be locked in on both ends, not just running around hoping for highlights. That's what Mazzulla is preaching. That's what the early signs from training camp are pointing toward. A new Celtics team, faster, tougher, hungrier, and ready to prove that effort can win games just as much as talent. If the offense is all about speed and constant pressure, then the defense under Joe Mazzulla this season is about disruption and control. It's not just about chasing steals or contesting shots. It's about dictating tempo without the ball, forcing opponents to play at a pace they're not comfortable with, and using that to create chaos. Mazzulla made it clear in camp that pushing the pace isn't just something you do on offense. It's a mindset that needs to live on both ends of the floor. On defense, it means making every single possession a mental and physical grind for the other team. The goal is to increase the number of decisions they have to make, to wear them down with pressure, movement, and physicality. This is where Boston's youth and athleticism are going to shine. When you have a roster filled with guys who have the legs to keep moving, the wingspan to close passing lanes, and the quickness to switch and rotate without getting exposed, then you can afford to be aggressive. You can take chances. You can gamble without getting burned. Mazzulla wants his defenders to stay active, bodies moving, hands up, always communicating. It's about creating pace through disruption. It's a subtle but effective way to control a game, not by slowing it down, but by speeding it up until the other team breaks down, trying to keep up. That kind of defense starts with conditioning, and that's why this camp has been such a grind. Sam Cassell said this is the hardest start to any season he's ever seen, and that's saying something. But it's by design. The Celtics aren't just trying to get in shape. They're building a culture where effort is non-negotiable. Every drill, every scrimmage, every rep is meant to test their stamina, their mental focus, their toughness. It's about creating habits that last into April, May, and hopefully June. For players like Anthony Simons, this is the make or break point in their career arcs. Simons has never been known for defense. He's always been seen as a scoring guard who can light it up, but who's often a liability when the ball isn't in his hands. That reputation doesn't hold in Boston. Not anymore. Simons even admitted that his struggles on defense weren't due to lack of ability, but lack of effort. He flat out said that he had never locked in on that side of the court before. That level of honesty is rare, but it also opens the door for real growth. And to his credit, he's shown signs of embracing the challenge. Mazzella has been in constant communication with him, not just encouraging him, but showing him how to become an impact defender. They've drilled positioning, closeouts, footwork, and anticipation. Simons says that in just a few weeks, he's already learning things he was never taught before. It's shocking to hear that a player can spend multiple seasons in the NBA without ever being coached on the finer points of defense. But that's what happens when development isn't prioritized. That's not the case in Boston. Here, every player is expected to contribute on both ends, and there are no shortcuts. And Simons isn't alone. Other newcomers are stepping into this system, knowing that defense is what's going to keep them on the floor. That's why Mazzella is focused on building habits from day one. The system is demanding, but it's clear. You give everything on every possession. You stay locked in. You rotate, you contest, you recover. No walking up the court. No lazy switches. No hiding. Every player is held accountable, whether you're a starter or fighting for a roster spot. Even the rotation strategy, the potential 5-in, 5-out sub-pattern, ties into this. It's not just about offense. It's about being able to sustain defensive intensity across 4 quarters. If you're going to press, trap, and switch aggressively, you can't rely on the same 6 or 7 guys to do it for 40 minutes. You need waves of players, each one bringing the same energy, the same focus. This strategy gives Mazzella the freedom to play with lineups, to find which combinations work best under real pressure. It also gives the players a chance to earn their spot, not just with shot making, but with effort and attention to detail on defense. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are swirling around the NBA world after Kevin Durant seemingly dropped a bombshell message aimed straight at the Boston Celtics. Sources close to the superstar hint that Durant could be eyeing a move to Boston in 2026, sending fans and pundits into a frenzy over what could be one of the biggest free agent headlines of the decade. While nothing is officially confirmed, the notion of Durant donning the green and white already has the sports media buzzing and social media ablaze. Durant, who has spent the better part of the last decade reshaping teams wherever he lands, reportedly made his intentions known during a private conversation with several key figures in the league. The context was cryptic, yet the message was unmistakable. The Celtics should be ready for him in 2026. For Boston, a franchise always in pursuit of championships, the idea of pairing Durant with its current roster is tantalizing and potentially game-changing. Analysts are already speculating how his arrival could transform the Eastern Conference landscape and how it might affect the team's strategy in the coming seasons. Fans are split between excitement and skepticism. Some argue that Durant joining the Celtics would cement the team as an instant title contender, while others caution that chemistry and contracts might complicate any move. Still, the mere suggestion of Durant and Boston Green has sparked a whirlwind of what-if scenarios, from potential playoff matchups to how the team might restructure to accommodate a superstar of his caliber. The rumor has naturally set off a ripple effect across social media. Celtic supporters are already dreaming of epic highlights and historic playoff runs, while rival fans are bracing for the seismic shift Durant's presence could bring. NBA insiders stress that the league is no stranger to surprise moves, and if Durant truly has his eyes on Boston, the chessboard for the 2026 offseason could look very different than anyone expects. For now, all eyes remain on Durant and the Celtics, with every interview, tweet, or subtle gesture analyzed for hints. Whether it's a calculated tease or a concrete plan, the NBA universe can't ignore the possibility. Kevin Durant in Boston 2026. The countdown and the speculation has officially begun. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.